Every great miracle began with a simple story. Welcome to Bible Storyline, where the Bible comes alive in vibrant, cinematic animation. Let's step into today's story. If you lived in Israel thousands of years ago, you would have heard the story long before you ever saw the boy. A shepherd, a nobody, a boy whose name carried no weight, yet carried a courage capable of shaking a nation back to life. This isn't just the story of a giant. It isn't just a story of a battle. This is the moment when fear met faith, and fear lost. When weakness stepped into a valley and brought down power. When the smallest person on the battlefield changed the future of a kingdom. To understand how it happened, we need to go back to a place where hope was dying, courage was draining, and a single voice echoed across the hills.
I am
like
Goliath
thunder.
of Gath. Is there a
The
man
Israelites
among you
stood
who will
on one
fight
mountain,
me?
the Philistines on the other.
Giant. Hurrah.
Between them was a valley where no one wanted to step first. Every morning and every night, a sound rolled across that valley that froze the hearts of soldiers. Heavy footsteps, metal clashing, a deep breath like a beast waking up. And then he appeared. The giant they called Goliath. He was taller than imagination, over 9 feet of strength and intimidation. Bronze armor covered his body, shining so bright under the sun that men squinted when they looked at him. His spear was thicker than a weaver's beam. His shadow stretched farther than hope. But he didn't raise his weapon, not at first. He didn't have to. His words were sharper, stronger, deadlier. "Send me a man to fight me," he roared. "If he wins, we will serve you. But if I win, you will serve us." And no one moved. The bravest men didn't step forward. The strongest warriors stayed silent. Even King Saul, tall, respected, trained for battle, did not take a single step. The giant didn't just challenge Israel. He humiliated them. He mocked them. He broke their courage piece by piece. For 40 days, morning and night, he returned like a living nightmare. The same roar, the same threats. And every day, the soldiers of Israel trembled a little more. But while armies shook in fear, a teenage shepherd far away was doing something very different. David, the youngest son in his family, tended sheep in hills where danger hid in silence. While soldiers trained with swords, David learned courage in solitude. Lions came, bears came. He fought them off, not with fear, but with faith, not with armor, but with trust. He was not trained for war. He was not respected by soldiers. He was not even old enough for the battlefield. Yet he carried something stronger than experience, an unshakable belief that God was bigger than anything that stood against him. One morning, David's father sent him to the battlefield with food for his brothers. A simple errand.
Why have you come
Just
down
bread,
here?
cheese,
Go back to the
supplies,
seat where you belong.
nothing heroic.
You have no business here, boy.
David
Leave
had
the
no
fighting to
idea he
us.
was walking into history. Sometimes destiny hides inside ordinary moments. When he reached the camp, he expected warriors preparing for battle, sharpening swords, rehearsing strategies. Instead, he heard whispers, fear, men avoiding eye contact, men pretending to fix armor so they wouldn't have to line up. And then, it happened. Thud, thud, thud. The footsteps every soldier feared. Goliath walked out again, his voice crashing across the valley like a wave of darkness. "Who will fight me?" he bellowed. The men stepped back. Some hid behind shields. Some lowered their eyes. David's heart burned, not with fear, but with shock. "Why is no one fighting him?" he asked. A soldier scoffed, as if David were a child who didn't understand how the world worked. "Because he's Goliath," the man whispered. "Because he's unbeatable. Fear is heavier than armor, boy." But David wasn't looking at the size of the giant. He was looking at the size of the fear that had taken over Israel. It stunned him. "This giant is not bigger than God," David said quietly. The soldier stared. This boy's confidence didn't make sense, but it spread. Whispers moved through the camp until they reached King Saul, and Saul sent for David. When David walked into the tent, Saul blinked in disbelief. A shepherd boy stood before him. No armor, no scars, no signs of battle. Just steady eyes and confidence that felt impossible. "You want to fight the giant?" Saul asked.
You are just a boy. How can you
David
face
nodded.
this giant?
"I've fought lions and bears," David said. "The Lord who helped me then will help me now." Saul looked at him, young, small, untrained, and shook his head. "You are a boy," he said. "Goliath has been a warrior since his youth." But David did not shrink. He didn't need to look strong. His strength wasn't in his size, it was in his faith. Something in Saul softened. Even kings can recognize courage when they see it. Saul placed his royal armor on David, the best armor in Israel. But the moment David tried walking, it weighed him down. He removed it gently and placed it aside. "I cannot fight in this," he said. "This is not mine." So David chose something simple, something small, something everyone else overlooked: a sling and stones. He walked out of the tent with no armor and no fear. As David stepped onto the battlefield, soldiers from both sides leaned forward. Some laughed, some shook their heads. The Philistines burst into roars of amusement. Is this a joke? They're sending a child? Where is their real warrior? David ignored them. His eyes were fixed on the valley, on the stream where he knelt and picked up 5 smooth stones, chosen not because he doubted God, but because preparation is part of faith. Then he walked forward, toward the giant, toward danger, toward a moment that would echo across generations. Goliath saw him and laughed, a deep, sharp, mocking laugh. "Am I a dog?" he growled, "that you come at me with sticks? Come here, boy. I'll feed your flesh to the birds." David remained calm. He lifted his voice. It rang across the valley with clarity and courage. "You come to me with a sword, a spear, and a javelin," David declared. "But I come to you in the name of the Lord. Today, God will deliver you into my hands." The echo of his words shocked soldiers on both sides. David didn't see a giant. He saw an opportunity, not for glory, but for God to show his strength. Goliath took a step forward, then another. His footsteps were earthquakes. His armor lit up like fire under the sun. Then, with a roar, he charged. But David did something that no one expected. He ran toward the giant. He ran with purpose, with conviction, with courage that didn't make sense. While others froze, David moved. Because when faith rises, fear falls silent. He reached into his pouch, pulled out a stone, placed it in his sling. The world around him blurred. The giant's roar faded. The armies disappeared. Only this moment existed. Only this purpose. David swung the sling, once, twice, faster and faster, until the stone became a streak of destiny. Then he released it. The stone sliced through the air with a whistle sharper than any sword. It struck Goliath, square in the forehead. Time froze. Goliath blinked, stumbling, shocked. Then, the giant fell, hard, fast, face down in the dust. The valley shook, the world shook. Israel stood in stunned silence. A boy had done what armies could not. Faith had done what fear said was impossible. David walked forward, calm, steady, certain. He took Goliath's sword, massive, heavy, made for giants, and finished the battle. The Philistines screamed and ran. Israel roared and chased them away, victory rising like a storm behind them. Not because of their strength, but because one boy dared to believe. When David returned to the camp, soldiers stared at him, not at his size, not at his sling, but at the courage he carried. Saul looked at him with awe and confusion. "Whose son are you?" Saul asked. Not because he didn't know David's father, but because he couldn't understand how such courage could come from someone so young. "I am the son of your servant Jesse," David replied simply. No pride, no boasting, just truth. Because heroes aren't made in crowds. They are made in quiet places, fields, prayers, moments where no one else is watching. And long after that day, people kept retelling the story, not because of the fall of a giant, but because of the rise of faith. The story teaches us that giants are loud, but God is louder. Fear is strong, but faith is stronger. Your past victories prepare you for future battles. You don't need the world's armor when God has already equipped you, and God uses ordinary people for extraordinary moments. Sometimes the giants in your life look impossible. Sometimes fear shouts so loudly that you forget who you are. But David's story reminds us of something unshakable. Giants fall, fear breaks, faith wins. You don't need to be the strongest. You don't need to be experienced. You don't need to be important. You just need the courage to step forward when everyone else steps back. You just need faith that runs toward the giant. And like David, you just need to believe that God is bigger than whatever stands against you. If David's courage inspired you today, imagine what the next story will unlock in your heart. Before you go, remember to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Bible Storyline for more life-changing stories from Scripture. Every week, we bring you a new cinematic Bible story designed to strengthen your faith and light up your imagination. Stay blessed, and see you in the next story.